Imagine a narrow strip of blue water, barely 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. On one side, the jagged, sun-scorched mountains of Oman. On the other, the heavily fortified coastline of Iran. This is not just a body of water. This is the jugular vein of the global economy. This is the Strait of Hormuz. Every single day, nearly 21 million barrels of oil flow through this tiny passage. That is 20% of the world's total consumption. If this heartbeat stops, the world stops. Cities would go dark, planes would be grounded, and the global stock market would suffer a cardiac arrest. But this is also the most dangerous stretch of water on the planet. It is a place where trillion-dollar economies meet billion-dollar warships. It is a theater of silent drone wars, naval standoffs, and high-stakes sabotage. For decades, the world has held its breath every time a spark flies here. Tonight, we go beyond the news headlines. We go inside the cockpit of the fighter jets patrolling these skies and onto the decks of the massive supertankers navigating these treacherous currents. This is the definitive story of the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most dangerous energy lifeline. To understand why this place is so vital, you have to look at the map. The Strait of Hormuz is the only gateway between the Persian Gulf and the open oceans of the world. It is the exit door for the vast oil wealth of Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. The shipping lanes are incredibly narrow. To prevent collisions, tankers must follow a traffic separation scheme. 2 lanes, each only 2 miles wide, separated by a 2-mile buffer zone. Imagine a massive supertanker, 3 football fields long, carrying 2 million barrels of crude oil, trying to squeeze through a needle's eye while being shadowed by hostile fast attack boats. The water here is shallow, making it a nightmare for large submarines, but a paradise for sea mines. On the northern shore, Iran sits in a commanding position. Its coastline is jagged, filled with hidden coves and tunnels where the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, hides its Mosquito fleet of missile-equipped speedboats. Control the strait, and you control the energy price in London, New York, and Tokyo. It is a geographic trap that has turned a simple waterway into the ultimate geopolitical weapon. The strait hasn't always been this tense, but the 1980s changed everything. During the brutal Iran-Iraq War, both sides realized that if they couldn't win on land, they could win by strangling the other's oil exports. This became known as the Tanker War. More than 500 ships were attacked. The Gulf became a graveyard of twisted steel. In 1988, the United States Navy intervened in Operation Praying Mantis, the largest naval surface engagement since World War II. In a single day, the U.S. destroyed half of Iran's operational navy after an American frigate, the USS Samuel B. Roberts, was nearly sunk by an Iranian mine. But the most tragic moment came later that year. In the heat of the tension, the USS Vincennes, an American cruiser, mistakenly shot down an Iranian civilian airliner Flight 655, killing all 290 people on board. These scars have never healed. Every sailor who enters these waters today carries the weight of that history. The ghosts of the 1980s still haunt the radar screens of every warship in the strait. Today, the power dynamic in the strait is a study in asymmetric warfare. On one hand, you have the United States Fifth Fleet, based in nearby Bahrain. They bring the most sophisticated technology on Earth: nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, Aegis destroyers, and stealth drones. On the other hand, you have the IRGC's Mosquito fleet. Iran knows it cannot win a traditional naval battle against a US carrier strike group. So, they have perfected the art of the swarm. They use hundreds of small, fast, highly maneuverable boats, often armed with Chinese-made anti-ship missiles, or even laden with explosives for kamikaze missions. They practice swarming techniques, intended to overwhelm a high-tech warship's sensors and defenses through sheer numbers. Adding to the danger are the silent killers. Iran has invested heavily in domestically produced sea mines and midget submarines that can hide in the shallow, noisy waters of the strait, making them nearly impossible to detect until it is too late. Every transit through the strait is a psychological game of chicken. Iranian boats often buzz within yards of American ships, testing their nerves, waiting for a mistake, waiting for a reason to ignite a conflict. What happens if the strait actually closes? It's the question that keeps global economists awake at night. If the IRGC were to mine the strait today, the price of oil would not just rise, it would double or triple overnight. We are talking about $200 or $300 a barrel. This would trigger a global recession deeper than anything we saw in 2008. Countries like Qatar, which provides nearly 20% of the world's liquefied natural gas, LNG, would be silenced. Europe's heating and Asia's factories would face immediate shortages. The Gulf nations have tried to find a workaround. Saudi Arabia and the UAE have built massive pipelines to bypass the strait, moving oil directly to the Red Sea or the Gulf of Oman. But these pipelines can only handle a fraction of the total volume. There is simply no substitute for the Strait of Hormuz. This economic reality is Iran's ultimate insurance policy. They know that as long as they can threaten the strait, they have a seat at the table with the world's most powerful nations. Beyond the warships and the politics, there is the human element. For the merchant sailors, the men and women from the Philippines, India, and Eastern Europe who man the tankers, the strait is a place of extreme stress. They sail in high security mode, with razor wire lining the decks and private security teams on lookout. They watch the horizon for suspicious skiffs. They know that a single incident could turn them into political pawns or victims of an explosion. And then there are the locals, the fishermen of Musandam and the traders of Bandar Abbas. For them, the strait isn't a geopolitical choke point, it's home. They see the giant gray warships of the West and the fast boats of the East pass each other every day, a constant reminder that their backyard is the most volatile front line in the world. The Strait of Hormuz remains a paradox. It is a place of incredible beauty and terrifying danger. It is the engine of our modern world, yet it is held together by a fragile piece that could shatter in a single heartbeat. As long as the world runs on oil, this 21-mile-wide strip of water will remain the most important real estate on Earth. It is a testament to our global interconnectedness and our global vulnerability. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the world's most dangerous energy lifeline. This is the Global Mystery Series. If you found this journey insightful, hit the like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the world will ever move past the tension in the Strait of Hormuz?